biggest myths in the alcohol reliance game is this. If I stop drinking, I'll feel everything and I won't be able to handle it. But that's not true. It's bullshit, because you can handle it. And you know why I know that? Because you were built to handle it, because you're a human being. Sweaty, sweaty, sweaty. When I drank alcohol, I didn't feel much. And I don't mean that in a poetic, tortured soul kind of way. I mean, I literally didn't feel. And that's because I was always up here in my head, always analyzing, planning, solving, rationalizing, living in my masculine, disconnected from my body, disconnected from my feminine, and disconnected from my feelings, right? It wasn't that I was afraid of emotion. I just wasn't programmed to feel it. And this is cultural, or it was for me, generational, systemic. And alcohol? Well, alcohol was the perfect tool to keep that machine running. The liquid lie doesn't just numb pain. It keeps you from ever knowing that you had any to begin with. Hello, everybody. My name is Lee Davey. I am not an alcoholic. I refuse to be anonymous. I live a self-led life, alcohol-free as fuck, and I spend every waking moment of that life helping other people do the same. Like right now. Let me have a little sip of my Earl Grey tea, ladies and gentlemen. Lovely jubbly. So I've been reading a book, finished it actually, by Dr. Nicole LaPera called How to Do the Work. I'm going to reach out to her, see if she'll be a guest on the podcast here. Let's hope that she will. And here is a line I highlighted that I want to talk about today. Physical and psychological symptoms are messages. Physical and psychological symptoms are messages. They are not lifelong diagnoses that can only be managed. Physical and psychological symptoms are messages. Let's sit with that for a moment, right? Because your body, your system, okay, is always constantly communicating with you through fatigue, tension, anxiety, headaches, cravings, not as punishment, but as information, as guidance. But here's the issue. In order to receive a message, you have to be conscious, you have to be present. And for that to happen, you have to have access and to be in your body, okay? And most of us, especially those raised in masculine coded, productivity obsessed cultures, we're not. We're actually taught and programmed to live in our heads, to override, to push through, to think our way to safety, right? And then on top of that, add in the liquid lie to the cultural mix. Because alcohol doesn't just numb feelings, it further severs the connection to the very system designed to protect you. And in those rare moments when a feeling does sneak through, when anger gets through, when sadness gets through, when a little shame or embarrassment or humiliation squeezes through the gap in the door, your parts, your inner child, your wounded child, in particular, your firefighter parts, they show up with a distraction. And we know what that distraction is, right? It's a drink, it's a binge, it's a scroll, anything but feeling. Why? Because feelings, real, raw, embodied emotion, it's been encoded in our psyche as dangerous. But it's not. It's truth. Avoiding short-term pain by numbing only delays and amplifies long-term cost. Ignore the message long enough and the whisper becomes a scream. And that's the paradox that we have to live with. Even super high functioning people, and I would say I was one of those when I was a constant drinker, people who think they've got their shit together, when they stop drinking, it's like the handbrake finally comes off, right? The energy, the clarity, the emotional bandwidth, it's like discovering new gears you never knew existed. You really didn't know that you was dragging all this weight around you until you finally dropped it. This is one of the paradoxes of becoming alcohol-free as fuck and living a self-led life and seeing that alcohol had no value. And when you talk about looking around you and seeing signs and roadmaps and messages in the world around you, I'm very into that, right? Using your reticular activating system, setting intentions, tuning into the synchronicities of the universe. I'm well into it, right? But please, please, please don't forget to look inside of you for the messages and the signs that come from within you. Don't forget those messages because you are your own oracle. You are your own data source. You just have to listen. So just before we go on a little break, here's a question to sit with. What messages is your body trying to send you that you've been ignoring for years? Press the pause button right now. Have a think about it and write in the comments, wherever you're listening to this, whether it's on social media or on a podcast player, write what are the messages that you've been ignoring and what are you going to do about it? Welcome back to the 1000 Days Sober podcast. We are, of course, talking about the messages in our body that we have been ignoring for years, right? One of the biggest myths in the alcohol reliance game is this. If I stop drinking, I'll feel everything and I won't be able to handle it. But that's not true. It's bullshit because you can handle it. And you know why I know that? Because you were built to handle it, because you're a human being. Emotional literacy is your birthright. It's not the feelings that are unbearable. It's the story about what those feelings mean. Stories like they'll drown you, they'll make you weak, that you'll fall apart and you'll never come back. But those stories, that's parts talking, inner child wounded parts talking, fear talking. That's the liquid lie keeping you small, like a little Lilliputian, right? When you could be Gulliver. When you become alcohol free as fuck, you do feel more. There's no escaping it, right? You can't get away from it. But you also start to trust those feelings. You stop catastrophizing them. You stop seeing them as flaws and you start using them as guidance. Anxiety becomes a compass. Sadness becomes a release valve. Anger becomes a boundary. And your joy becomes safe to express again. Emotions, they're not curses, ladies and gentlemen. They're gifts. And when you adopt that belief system, you don't just change your behavior, you change your entire fucking world. Right, today's daily vow. I will not drink today because I am ready to hear the truth my body's been whispering for years. Remember that you were not born afraid of your feelings. You were just never taught how to feel them because you were programmed to numb, to perform, to survive. But under all that conditioning lies the real you, self. And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, self doesn't run from feelings. Self listens, self trusts, self leads. You're not weak because you feel, you are powerful because you do. So all I have time for today, ladies and gentlemen. If this episode cracks something open in you like an Easter egg, please send it to somebody else who really needs it. Please subscribe on whatever podcast player you listen to. That will mean the world to me. And if you want to learn how to get back into your body and out of your head, maybe try the Strive Method, our 6-month flagship workshop. Email me at thestrivemethod@gmail.com to learn more. And remember, most importantly, today, ladies and gentlemen, you will not drink alcohol. Like me, when you feel the urge to have some form of liquid past your lips, choose Earl Grey. Until tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, much love and strive on.